Mr. Shurman.
From Thornhill.
Thank you, Speaker, and I move that in the opinion of this House, the term Israeli Apartheid Week is condemned as it serves to incite hatred against Israel, a democratic state that respects the rule of law and human rights, and the use of the word apartheid in this context diminishes the suffering of those who are victims of a true apartheid regime in South Africa.
Mr. Shurman moves private member's notice of motion number 93. Pursuant to Standing Order 98, the member has 12 minutes for his presentation. The member from Thornhill.
Thank you. We debate some interesting things in this chamber, Speaker, not always what appear to be provincial business. One might think that my resolution falls into that category. But since Israeli Apartheid Week takes place next week on campuses across Ontario, I'd submit to you that it very much concerns us in this place, and it should concern all fair-minded Ontarians. Resolutions here do one thing only: they send a message, moral suasion pertinent to any given subject, and I am passionate about my resolution today and the subject Israeli Apartheid Week. I am the MPP for Thornhill. Over 40% of my constituents are Jewish. Understandably, there is broad support for Israel in Thornhill, and not just in Thornhill, and not just among Jewish people. I have been approached in and outside of Thornhill, on and off college campuses all over Ontario to champion this cause, and I'm very happy to do so. I am sick and tired of the demonization of Israel by the use of the word that was only ever applied in one historical case and remains applicable only to that one period of South African history. In honesty, I have also, along with all colleague MPPs, been approached as well by those not in agreement with this resolution. And I say here and now that I reject their position out of hand. This is a resolution that is entirely appropriate for discussion in our Ontario legislature. It's about an annual event in our province, on our campuses, and most significantly, it's about our values, because our values are the same as the values of the State of Israel: democracy, education, individual freedom, human rights, and the right to defend oneself from aggressors. In fact, the values of Judaism and of Israel were bedrock values for the foundation of Canada, and those values from Judaism and from Israel date back over 3,000 years. All to say that if you're going to label Israel as apartheid, then you are also calling Canada apartheid, and you are attacking Canadian values. The use of the phrase Israeli Apartheid Week is about as close to hate speech as one can get without being arrested, and I'm not certain it doesn't actually cross over that line. It's also a thinly veiled campaign by those whose real agenda is to eradicate Israel entirely. During the last week, I read an online blog or journal, and there are sadly many like it, and I'll quote from it, and bear in mind this is not a secret website. It came to me because I'm personally mentioned in it. And that simply triggered a Google alert. It's called ziofascism.net, now quoting, "Israel is a terrorist apartheid state that bombs civilian neighborhoods and hospitals and engages in ethnic cleansing against its enemies and covert terror against its friends. In Canada, the Israel lobby, a web of organizations presided over by a handful of Jewish billionaires who head the nominal Jewish groups that, together with media, are owned by some of the same billionaires, have shaped Israel's policy to favor Israel's security interests at the expense of Canada's." Pure garbage. And Israeli Apartheid Week, the same. A few pertinent details about what my resolution is not. I am not attempting to tackle in 10 minutes in the Ontario Legislative Assembly any of the vast ongoing problems relative to Israel. No discussion today of the peace process. No discussion of the existential questions of an Israeli state. Israel is quite simply there. It isn't going anywhere, not now and not ever. Let me say that Israel, while demonstrating some very remarkable positives, is in the end, just like Canada or any other democratic country, not always right and always dealing with political challenges. My resolution is, however, not about any of that. I raise it by way of asserting that I or anyone else can debate such issues anytime, any place, as long as such a debate is respectful and fair to all who seek to express an opinion. That is precisely what Israeli Apartheid Week does not do, and in our free environment, in our hate-free public forum, it has no place. Israeli Apartheid Week occurs about this time of year every year in various locations around the world, and it runs sometime within the first 2 weeks of March. As I have said, here it's in the first week of March next week. Here's what's truly remarkable about those who are supportive of Israeli Apartheid Week. Their very use of that phraseology and the content of the supposedly neutral discussion seminars is really about an apartheid that is quite the reverse of what they contend exists, and here's why.